friends, and welcome back to Keep It Real and Just Do You. An effort by me, Mindy Spainhour. I am a teacher, lifelong learner. I am definitely not a doctor. I am not a therapist. I am just a teacher and a real human being who has learned a lot that I would really like to share with you. Today, our topic is going to be a little different. Now, I don't want you guys to forget what we've learned. We looked at our values and we looked at defining ourselves in the first 3 episodes. You should now have a notebook with some real inspiring things written in it that help you to define you and help you to define your true north. And as long as you keep true to your values, you are headed directly for your true north. Today, what I want to focus on actually is mental illness, mental disorders, mental illness, because one of the major reasons that I started doing what I'm doing now is to try to reach out to those in our community who are struggling with addiction. And what I've learned about addiction is that most of the time people who have, what do they call it? A substance use disorder is what they call it. I've learned that more than half or almost half of those people actually suffer from another mental illness. It's called comorbidity. And studies show that people who have a substance use disorder typically also have a mental disorder, and that substance disorder is just another symptom of their mental disorder. And oftentimes what happens is people go for treatment for substance abuse, but they're not getting the treatment for that mental disorder that is creating that symptom. I hope that makes sense. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is simple, plain, easy to understand, but it's not something you would think of on your own unless somebody explained it to you. So here we go. By definition, the word disease says it is a particular distinctive process in the body with a specific cause and characteristic symptoms that can be identified and differentiated with laboratory testing. You hear that? They can test and see if you have cancer. They can test and see if you have diabetes. They can test and see if you have heart disease. But there are no laboratory tests that show exactly what is going on in the human brain when it comes to a mental disorder. And that's why they had to come up with that vocabulary word. A disorder is defined as an irregularity, a disturbance, or an interruption of normal, I like that word, normal functions. Well, y'all, I am here to tell you today that mental illness, mental disorders behave and affect people just like a disease. I want you to think of how cancer behaves. Once you know that it's there, once the doctors have found it, and once they start treating it, we're very fortunate if that cancer subsides and goes away. But more often what happens is it begins to strengthen and it begins to resist every effort that doctors try to destroy it. Mental illness is the same exact way, y'all. It behaves just like cancer in that once you recognize it, it strengthens and it resists every effort of your trying to destroy it. It multiplies and it mutates and it masks other illnesses. Those signs and the symptoms of that mental disorder will begin to overlap and they'll morph, and what looks like depression may be a side effect of anxiety, and what looks like bipolar disorder may just be clinical depression in different phases. So it's really, really hard to narrow it down and determine what is going on here in this brain. There are no laboratory tests, but it's important to remember that you would never tell somebody it's cancer, so just get over it. So if you are around another person who is expressing to you an emphatic sadness or depression, they're admitting to you they're depressed, or they're admitting to you they're anxious, listen to them. You don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to give them guidance as to what to do, especially if you've never been in their shoes and you don't get it. You just be there for them. Silent partnership, just silent person being in the room with somebody and listening without giving any advice is the best thing that you can do. Just love them, explain to them that you understand what they're going through, but please don't tell somebody to just get over it, because what that does is, I can't think of the words that I want to use. It makes them more shamed. It makes them feel like, gosh, why can't I just get over it? I'm trying to get over it. I'm taking medicine to get over it. I just can't get over it. So what happens is those people go out into daily life and they wear these name tags of, hello, my name is anxiety, or my name is stress, or far too often, my name is shame and grief and depression. Y'all, 1 out of 4 people suffers from this. 1 out of 4 people, and most of them don't even know it. And think about this quote that I've got here in front of you right now. It is no measure of health to be well adjusted in a profoundly sick society. What we accept as normal today is way different for each individual. There is no normal. The only normal there is, guys, is alive and breathing. That's normal. Everything else is just you. Nobody realizes that some people actually expend a tremendous amount of energy every single day just to try to be that normal person. And by not feeling comfortable in being understood, that shame of having something that you can't fix, that shame is a soul-eating emotion, guys. And if you don't experience a mental disorder, you can't understand that. The bravest thing I ever did as a human being in my life was continuing my life when I wanted to die. That sounds scary, doesn't it? But y'all, all I'm saying is the only thing more exhausting than having a mental illness is to pretend like you don't. It's so much easier to just come out and say, you know what, I have an anxiety disorder. That's why I can't come to your party. I shake like a chihuahua. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to act. I tremble. It's so much better to tell people that than to just not show up, because then they think you're stuck up, or then they think that you just don't want to come to their party. Mental health right now in our society is that final taboo. You know, it's right up there with racism and prejudice. It really, really needs to be faced as an illness and not such a taboo, and we have to deal with it in society. Here's how you do that. Beginning today, you go out into this world and you treat everybody you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. You extend to them all the care and all the kindness and understanding that you can possibly muster, and you do that with no thought of any reward, because that reward is going to come right back to you, and you're going to see it in their expression, and you're going to see it in their calming demeanor, and you're going to see it in their smile, and your life will never be the same again if you try to face every single day treating everyone you meet that way. Do you know what we call opinion in the absence of evidence? We call it prejudice. Just because you don't understand schizophrenia, just because you don't understand psychosis, just because you don't understand depression, doesn't mean that there's something wrong with that person that's going to affect you. If you have a mental disorder, please don't be ashamed of your story. I'm telling you, the burden that is lifted once those words come out of your mouth and you look someone in the eyes and tell them exactly why you do the things you do, why you're so quirky, why you're addicted to drugs, why you are self-medicating. Don't be ashamed of that story. It's going to inspire other people. And the best way for you to heal is helping other people. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Your illness does not define you, guys. My illness does not define me. Your strength and your courage does. Sometimes the people around you will not understand your journey. They're not going to understand why you stay at home every day. They're not going to understand why it's hard for you to get out of the bed some mornings. But you know what? They don't need to. It's not their journey. It's your journey. It's your values. It's your true north. Right? 1 in 4 people, just like me, have a mental health problem. Many more people, though, guys, have a problem with that. You can't forget that. People are going to judge you. That's what we do. From the outside looking in, it's really hard to understand a mental illness. And from the inside looking out, it's really hard to explain, isn't it? Depression, anxiety, panic attacks, those are not signs of weakness, you guys. Those are signs of your body telling you that you are trying to remain strong for far too long. You are carrying too much on your shoulders, and you need to find a way to drop some of that load. Never ever waste your time trying to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. All you have to do is tell them once, y'all. Just tell them once, and then don't tell them again. If they continue to misunderstand you, those are not your people. When you face the day every day, it's important to remember that if you believe that discrimination exists towards you, then it will. In other words, if you allow it to exist, if you allow other people to make you feel a certain way because of the way that they treat you, it's going to continue. You have to tell people, don't be walking in my head with your dirty feet. This week, this is the only resource I'm giving. Now, if you need resources for drug addiction, if you need resources for battered women, you go to any one of my other videos on YouTube and you look in the descriptions, and I have links to every resource that I have found available, some of the best in our local area. But today, I'm leaving you with the National Institute of Mental Health information. Guys, if there's a topic you want me to discuss, send it to me. Please comment. Please share me. Please have your friends subscribe to my YouTube channel. I know we can make a difference if we do it together, guys. I love you. Stay safe. And remember to just do you.